In August 1939, Germany and the Soviet Union signed a non-aggression pact in Moscow known as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. A secret protocol to the pact outlined an agreement between Germany and the Soviet Union on the division of the Eastern European border states between their respective spheres of influence. The Soviet Union and Germany would partition Poland in the event of an invasion by Germany, and the Soviets would be allowed to overrun the Baltic states and Finland. Despite the parties' ostensibly cordial relations, each side was highly suspicious of the other's intentions. For instance, the Soviet invasion of Bukovina in June 1940 went beyond their sphere of influence as agreed with Germany. After Germany entered the Axis Pact with Japan and Italy, it began negotiations about a potential Soviet entry into the pact. After days of negotiations, the alliance failed to materialize. Stalin's reputation as a brutal dictator contributed both to the Nazis' justification of their assault and their faith in success. In the middle of 1940, following the rising tension between the Soviet Union and Germany over territories in the Balkans, an eventual invasion of the Soviet Union seemed the only solution to Hitler. While no concrete plans had yet been made, Hitler told one of his generals in June that the victories in Western Europe finally freed his hands for a showdown with Bolshevism. With the successful end to the campaign in France, General Erich Marx was assigned the task of drawing up the initial invasion plans of the Soviet Union. At around 1 o'clock on June 22, 1941, the Soviet military districts in the border area were alerted. It called on them to bring all forces to combat readiness, but to avoid provocative actions of any kind. It took up to 2 hours for several of the units subordinate to the fronts to receive the order of the directive, and the majority did not receive it before the invasion commenced. At around 3:15 on June 22, 1941, the Axis powers commenced the invasion of the Soviet Union with the bombing of major cities in Soviet-occupied Poland. Air raids were conducted as far as Kronstadt near Leningrad, Ismail in Bessarabia, and Sevastopol in the Crimea. Meanwhile, ground troops crossed the border, accompanied in some locales by Lithuanian and Ukrainian fifth columnists. Roughly 3 million soldiers of the Wehrmacht went into action and faced slightly fewer Soviet troops at the border. At around noon, the news of the invasion was broadcast to the population by Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov. On 22nd of June, Army Group North attacked the Soviet Northwestern Front and broke through Red Army. Meanwhile, the northern section of Army Group South faced the Southwestern Front, which had the largest concentration of Soviet force. In addition, the Pripyat marshes and the Carpathian Mountains posed a serious challenge to the Army Group's northern and southern sections respectively. On 22nd of June, only the northern section of Army Group South attacked, but the terrain impeded their assault, giving the Soviet defenders ample time to react. Finally, the German army attacked and broke through the Soviet army. On the same day, the German army groups crossed the Bug River, broke through the Soviet army, bypassed Brest Fortress, and pressed on towards Minsk. While the another army group bypassed most of the Third Army and pressed on towards Vilnius. Simultaneously, the German 4th and 9th Armies engaged the Western Front forces in the environs of Białystok. During German-Finnish negotiations, Finland had demanded to remain neutral unless the Soviet Union attacked them first. Germany, therefore, sought to provoke the Soviet Union into an attack on Finland. After Germany launched Barbarossa on 22nd of June, German aircraft used Finnish air bases to attack Soviet positions. The same day the Germans launched Operation Reindeer and occupied the Petsamo province at the Finnish-Soviet border. Despite these actions, the Finnish government insisted via diplomatic channels that they remained a neutral party, but the Soviet leadership already viewed Finland as an ally of Germany. Starting on the night of 23rd of June, the Soviet army attacked the flanks of the German army from north and south respectively, but all the attacks were defeated by anti-tank fire and Luftwaffe attacks. The Soviets proceeded to launch a massive bombing attack on 25th of June against all major Finnish cities and industrial centers including Helsinki, Turku, and Lahti. During a night session on the same day, the Finnish parliament decided to go to war against the Soviet Union. On 26 June, the Soviets launched another counterattack panzer group from north and south simultaneously, which altogether fielded 1,649 tanks. The battle lasted for 4 days, ending in the defeat of the Soviet tank units. On 27 June, German panzer groups met near Minsk and captured the city the next day. On 29 June, Army Norway launched its effort to capture Murmansk in a pincer attack. The northern pincer, conducted by Mountain Corps Norway, approached Murmansk directly by crossing the border at Petsamo. However, in mid-July, after securing the neck of the Rybaki Peninsula and advancing to the Litsa River, the German advance was stopped by heavy resistance. Renewed attacks led to nothing, and this front became a stalemate for the remainder of Barbarossa. The second pincer attack began on 1 July with the German and Finnish armies slated to recapture the Salla region for Finland and then proceed eastwards. On 2 July, Army Group North began its attack on the Stalin Line with its, and on 8 July captured Pskov, devastating the defenses of the Stalin Line and reaching Leningrad Oblast. On 9 July it began its attack towards the Soviet defenses along the Luga River in Leningrad Oblast. On 2 July, the southern section of Army Group South, the Romanian armies, alongside the German army, invaded Soviet Moldavia, which was defended by the southern front. On 9 July the Axis advance stalled along the defenses of the Soviet 18th Army between the Prut and Dniester rivers. On 2 July and through the next 6 days, a rainstorm typical of Belarusian summer slowed the progress of the panzers of Army Group Center, and Soviet defenses stiffened. The delays gave the Soviets time to organize a massive counterattack against Army Group Center. The Army Group's ultimate objective was Smolensk, which commanded the road to Moscow. The German army crossed the Dnieper River and closed in on Smolensk from the south, while the other Army Group, after defeating the Soviet counterattack, closed on Smolensk from the north. Trapped between their pincers were 3 Soviet armies. On 18 July, the panzer groups came to within 10 kilometers of closing the gap, but the trap did not finally close until 5 August. The German units had great difficulty dealing with the Arctic conditions. After heavy fighting, Salla was taken on 8 July. To keep the momentum, the German-Finnish forces advanced eastwards, until they were stopped at the town of Kairali by Soviet resistance. By mid-July, the German forces had advanced within a few kilometers of Kiev below the Pripyat marshes. The panzer group then went south, while the army struck east and trapped 3 Soviet armies near Uman. By the end of July, German forces reached the gates of Kiev. Finally, on August 5, Smolensk got captured. In the north, on 8 August, the panzers broke through the Soviet defenses. By the end of August, Panzer Group had penetrated to within 48 kilometers of Leningrad. The Finnish army had pushed southeast on both sides of Lake Ladoga to reach the old Finnish-Soviet frontier. Further advances of German army will be the subject of our next videos. So stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.